Greetings, Benjamin J. the Victrola Guy, with another in the series on the tinfoil phonograph. Well, this is what I'm recording on. Great value aluminum foil, heavy duty aluminum foil. Buy it at Walmart. 60 square feet. It's 20 yards by 12 inches, so it's 66 feet long, 12 inches wide. This is now my third roll of foil. So I've been doing lots of recordings on this machine. Here's the recordings I made just this evening. So I started a recycle bin going. I've got lots and lots of aluminum foil, so I figured why waste it. So what I've done is I found a spot on the mandrel, surprisingly, that coincides with the crank, and it's a small series of dots. I have no idea what it is. It's down in the groove, so it's actually part of the machining process, it looks like. But it lines up with the handle, so it gives me, or the crank, so it gives me a great starting point. So that's where I'm putting the foil on every time I make a recording. And these are the strips I'm recording on. I'm cutting this out with a razor blade. And so I pull out about 20 inches of the foil, lay it out on a glass table. And then you have to burnish it. You have to rub it flat to get virtually all the creases out of it. And then using a straight edge, I'm cutting it to length and cutting it to width. So each length is cut by hand with a razor blade. So I've gone through boxes of razor blades. And also found out that you can get aluminum foil cuts from these edges, and they don't feel sharp at all until they cut you, and it's just like a paper cut, but much worse because they're really jagged edges. So I'm recording on the dull side of the foil, so I'm putting a line of glue on the shiny side, center the mandrel on the machine to give yourself some room. And then using that mark, like I said, in line with the crank handle, that's what I'm using as my starting point to mount the foil to the mandrel. So I just stick it down, and surprisingly it doesn't stick to the mandrel. I can just rub it right off with my thumb. But it sticks really well to the foil. And then just push down on it while you're turning it, wrap it around the mandrel and see where your edges are. You can see I'm way off on this side. So you just come over here and pull this side down a little bit. And do it again. And that time, dead on, perfect. So another line of glue. Stick the foil down. Roll the edges over. And as you do this, it makes a really, really tight, flat surface on the mandrel. When I first started cutting these, I was cutting them to the same size, same width. And I found that by leaving them oversized, it actually makes a much better recording. And if you glue this overlap down really securely, you can then play the machine backwards, which is interesting. Okay, so our foil is installed. We're going to rewind the machine to its starting point. And the nice thing about this isinglass diaphragm is I can see right through it, so I can see exactly where the tip of the stylus is. So I'm in the second groove on the mandrel. And you want to do that because this mandrel is so small, and by the time you get it up to speed, you've already used 3 grooves, which makes the usable space even smaller. And I'm going to try recording with the 14-inch horn. I've never made a recording with this horn. Made recordings with the 7-inch, the 10-inch, the speaking tube, but I have never recorded with the 14-inch horn. So this is an experiment, something I've never done before, so I don't know what the results will be. I have noticed that the larger the horn, the less distinct the recording becomes. The most distinct, of course, is with the speaking tube. Really crisp pronunciation. Okay, so we've got the 14-inch horn installed on the tinfoil phonograph. Let's see what kind of recording it makes. Again, Mary had a little lamb. Hello, hello, hello. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Ha, ha, ha. Alright, so we'll pull the horn off. We'll rewind the machine. I can see really good indentations in the foil, but I have no idea what this is going to sound like. So we'll line the stylus back up with our very first groove, and we'll play it back through the 14-inch horn. So, actually the smaller horn sounds better for making recording. As I said, the speaking tube made a very good recording, exceptionally good recording, I thought, as far as clarity. So I might make a small speaking tube to use strictly for recording on the tinfoil phonograph. Something that is perhaps a foot long, 8 inches, 10 inches. Just something where you can sit right here and turn it. The drawback to trying to turn this at a constant speed is unless you're sitting right in front of it, and I'm actually using my wrist rather than my arm. So I'm moving my arm and then flicking my wrist. And once you've got the rotation established, you can make a fairly good constant speed recording and playback. It's when you're standing up or standing to the side, then it becomes difficult to actually crank it at the right speed. And you're always going up and down faster and slower, and it really degrades the recording. And even if you've made a good recording, playing it back poorly makes it sound bad. So one of the critical features, of course, is cranking this thing at the correct speed, at a constant speed, whatever it is. And once I get really proficient at this, of course, I'll be able to make recordings doing really slow revolutions, if you can keep them constant. This way you get some momentum built up, and the whole idea of this machine, of course, was the Cruci prototype had no flywheel. The Brady prototype had a flywheel at the end of the mandrel shaft. Edison built this so the mandrel could act as the flywheel itself. Remember, this machine is really small. It's 10 by 12 inches, but it weighs 21 pounds. So it is really, really heavy. Surprisingly heavy. You look at the size and you go to pick it up, it's like, wow. I mean, 21 pounds is a substantial weight for something this size. So the whole idea of the large mandrel was the machine, or the mandrel, can act as its own flywheel. The drawback to it is it gives you that much recording space, and after you've brought it up to speed, you actually have about that much recording space. So you've got less than 2 inches to record on. But as I said, it's just an ongoing series of experiments, in this case recording with a 14-inch horn, and it didn't sound that good. I mean, yes, it made a recording, but I've made much better recordings with the 10-inch horn. In fact, a very good recording with the speaking tube. So now I'm just experimenting with what makes the best recording, and whatever that is, that's what I'll make the recording with, and then play it back through the 14-inch horn. And that way, if I'm taking the machine out and doing a demonstration, I'll know exactly what to use to do, or to make a good recording and get a good playback. But this is going to be my constant playback horn. Right now I'm just doing experiments to find out what makes the best recording as far as loudness and clarity. I mean, clarity is really important in this, I think. And the clearer the recording I can make, the better the recording will be. So just now experimenting with different horns. Like I said, I'm probably going to wind up making a speaking tube about that long. Just something that's really comfortable to use sitting here. cranking it and hopefully getting a good, crisp, loud recording. So anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video of the experiment with the 14-inch horn as a recording horn. It didn't seem to work that well. So I'll continue my experiments, or make a new speaking tube, like I said, about 8 inches long, just for the tinfoil phonograph. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, TheVictrolaGuy@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for watching.